On New Year's Eve, I proposed to my girlfriend for the 99th time. Just as I knelt down on one knee, my girlfriend interrupted me because her male best friend said he wanted to see her. She put the proposal on hold. I'm still not satisfied with this proposal. You can propose again next time. I humbly begged her not to leave, but she threw me halfway up the mountain instead. You're too stingy. As punishment, you have to walk down the mountain in the dark night. I fell and got injured all over my body. When I turned on my phone to ask for help, I saw a post on Moments from her male best friend. The two of them were passionately kissing under the heart shape formed by drones. The caption read, "She said, I will always be her number one." I laughed at myself, then threw the ring into the pool and boarded the plane to Ching. This time there will be no future for us anymore. The failed proposal on New Year's Eve made me the butt of the joke. In Moments again, they said that a loach is just a loach and can never become a dragon in its lifetime. Mia once told me that she wanted a unique and romantic proposal. Therefore, to show my love for her, I planned a total of 99 proposals, and she, because of a guy named Julian, rejected me 99 times. People's hearts are made of flesh. Being pushed away by her time and time again, my one-sided feelings have long been worn out. There won't be a 100th time for us. Mia left on New Year's Eve and didn't come home until the third day of the new year. When she saw me having breakfast and I didn't go to greet her immediately and change her shoes for her, a hint of anger appeared on her face. Where are my slippers? I looked up and clearly saw the marks on her neck. My hands involuntarily clenched. Find them yourself, I replied casually, not wanting to face her, and prepared to go back to the bedroom on the second floor. Mia frowned and ran in front of me to block my way. She showed an impatient expression. What are you going to do now? Just because I rejected your proposal, you're throwing a tantrum at me. James, can you be more sensible and stop throwing little tantrums at every turn? Julian is not only my best friend but also my close confidant. He's all alone in DJing City, and I have to help him. I didn't want to dwell on this issue with her, so I nodded and said, "Yeah, you're right," but she didn't seem to believe me at all. She firmly grabbed my wrist. Julian and I have known each other for so many years. If we could have been together, we would have been together long ago. Can't you understand me a bit? I forcefully shook her off. Mia, what on earth do you want? When I argued with you before, you said I didn't understand you enough. Now that I'm not making a fuss, you still say, I don't understand you. I really don't know what to do. I pressed my forehead, my tone a bit tired. Since I'm not the ideal boyfriend for you, let's break up. For the first time in all these years, I brought up the topic of breaking up with her, and an uncomfortable look flashed across her face. Just then, Mia's phone rang. It was Julian's exclusive ringtone. Without thinking, she picked up the phone immediately. Her face, which had been filled with anger, instantly turned gentle. I don't know what was said on the other end of the phone, but a look of anxiety appeared between her eyebrows. Don't worry, I'll come right away. After hanging up the phone, she said to me with a cold face, there's something urgent at the company, and I have to go on a business trip for a few days. I'll just take what you said earlier as angry words. You can also take these few days to calm down and reflect on yourself properly. After saying that, she left without looking back. I watched as her back overlapped with the one on New Year's Eve. Not long after, the WeChat notification sound rang. I opened it and saw that it was a photo sent by Julian. In the photo, Julian was lying in the hospital bed receiving an IV drip, and Mia was lying beside him, holding his hand with their fingers intertwined. People who didn't know would think they were a couple. I took a screenshot of the message and forwarded it to Mia, and then blocked and deleted all of Julian's contact information. I covered my chest, knowing that it was all over. A month ago, my mother contacted me. She said that my father was now in his 50s and hoped that I could go back and inherit the family business in Hetching and get engaged to the daughter of the Evelyn Group. At that time, I still had some last hopes for Mia. If the proposal was successful, I would stay in DJing City for her forever. But things often deviated greatly from the plan. I took out my phone and called my mother. Mom, I'm willing to get engaged to Miss Evelyn. I'll be back in Hetching in a week. On the other end of the phone, there was great joy and a faint sob in her voice. It's good that you're coming back. Mom has been waiting for you to say this. For a long time, your dad misses you too. My heart felt sour as well. It had been 5 years since I had a quarrel with my father because of my ideals, and I hadn't been back since then. Now things had changed and people were different. Leaving home didn't help me achieve my ideals. On the contrary, I gave up everything for the person I loved and became someone who was despised and could be trampled on at will. After finalizing the departure time, I started packing my things bit by bit. 5 years was neither too long nor too short, and this home was full of traces of my existence everywhere. Now that I had decided to end things with Mia completely, there was no need for these traces to remain. After I sold all my things on a secondhand website, I also tore up the only 2 photos I had with Mia and threw them into the trash can. One day, before I left, Mia's childhood friend called me. Mia failed in a truth or dare game. She's a girl and can't drink that much alcohol. Hurry up and come to drink for her. I instinctively asked for the address, picked up the keys, put on my shoes, and went out. After getting in the car, I realized how unreasonable my actions were with the intention of seeing her one last time before leaving. I didn't choose to get out of the car, but went to the bar instead, in the VIP private room on the second floor. When I walked to the door, I heard mocking voices coming from inside. M, as a childhood friend, sneered, "I bet the L-struck fool will be here in half an hour today." Several other companions echoed, "It can't be that long. When has the L-struck fool ever been late? Every time Mia gives an order, he comes running over within 10 minutes. I looked down on such a useless person. The most MIA, "You're really a turtle with a lot of patience. Aren't you going to dump him yet?" Mia's expression didn't change much throughout. It seemed that she didn't think there was anything inappropriate about what her friend said. Otherwise, as friends who had grown up together, how could they casually trample on their boyfriend's dignity? I sneered at myself, stopped in my tracks, and wanted to hear what Mia would say. She adjusted the big wavy hair that was draped over her shoulders, and a cold smile curled up on her red lips. If it wasn't to prove to my dad that I can stand firm in the company without a powerful man by my side, would I keep this useless guy around? The others burst into laughter upon hearing this and praised Mia as the so-called sober, leading lady. Hearing these words, my already broken heart couldn't be mended at all. Then her childhood friend pushed Julian beside her. "What about Julian? Aren't you going to give him a proper title?" Julian adjusted his clothes and looked at Mia with affectionate eyes. "I want to be the strongest support behind Mia." Mia was extremely touched. Without caring that she already had a boyfriend, she leaned on Julian's shoulder. "I wish that useless guy could be half as good as you, Julian." As soon as she finished speaking, I couldn't bear it any longer. I kicked the door open and walked. In I passed the others and stopped in front of the two who were very close to each other. Everyone was startled by this sudden scene. The moment Mia saw me, she immediately sat up straight, and there was anger and blame in her eyes. Mia's childhood friend reacted at this moment and pointed to the wine on the table. "Since you're here, hurry up and drink the wine for Mia." I didn't even give her a glance and stared fixedly at Mia. Mia was annoyed by my stare. Instead of feeling guilty about what she had said, she said confidently, "Didn't you say you wanted to break up? You came running over so quickly. I don't think you have much backbone." I clenched my fists tightly. "Do you think I'm joking with you when I said we should break up, Mia? Have you forgotten who helped you secure the investment for your project? Because you said you would feel more secure if I took care of the home affairs, I resolutely gave up the opportunity for further study. In the end, I became a useless guy in your eyes." I endured the pain in my heart, and my body swayed for a moment. My eyes turned red after I finished. Mia was stunned, and a trace of panic flashed in her eyes as if something was getting out of control. Julian stepped forward and shielded her, behind him, saying disdainfully, "Why is a grown man being so petty? Mia has been supporting you all these years. What right do you have to criticize her? Besides, your ability is so poor. There's already a gap between your original family and Mia. Letting you take care of the home affairs is already showing you some respect. Don't be too pushy." Julian's words successfully made all of Mia's uneasiness disappear completely. I looked at her, hoping for an answer. "Everything I've done is taken for granted in your eyes, isn't it?" Mia frowned. "Isn't it? Being with me has allowed you to cross social classes. What you've done is insignificant. Even without those investments, I could have done better." Thinking of how I had drunk until my stomach bled to secure the investments, only to be denied by her words, I was so angry that my whole body trembled. I almost gritted my teeth and said, "Hey, I'm really despicable. If I had known it would end like this, I shouldn't have been with you in the first place." Mia crossed her arms and said impatiently, "I know you're jealous again, aren't you, Jane? How many times have I told you that Julian is my close friend? As my boyfriend, you should tolerate him." I didn't want to argue with her any longer. A few days ago, when I was packing my things and recalling my original love, little by little, I had wavering thoughts. But coming here today has completely eliminated any wavering in my heart. Her heart is made of stone. Even if I were to give my life, I wouldn't be able to get even a tiny crack in it. Mia, since we're not on the same path, let's part ways as soon as possible. I'm tired and don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. I turned around and walked outside. Mia seemed to realize something and ran up to grab my arm, frowning slightly. "Without me, you'll be a lower-class person for the rest of your life. I advise you not to be willful." I forcefully shook her off and looked at her coldly. Lower-class person. Ridiculous. According to their logic, in the past few years of being with her, I was the one who truly became a lower-class person anyway. I was leaving tomorrow, so I didn't pester her any longer and left without looking back. An hour before I left, I placed the keys on the table and looked around the already empty house. I took out my phone and blocked all of Mia's contact information. From then on, there would be no more intersection between us. I would step aside and let her be with her so-called close friend for the rest of her life. 5 minutes before the plane took off, an unfamiliar number called. I knew it was her, and without thinking, I directly hung up the phone and then turned off my phone. 3 hours later, I landed in Chang. My mother and the butler came to pick me up in person. The moment I saw my mother, my eyes welled up with tears. She was still that elegant lady, but there were a few more wrinkles on her face. My mother wiped the tears from the corner of her eye and motioned for the driver to take my luggage. Your father is waiting for you at home. I asked Aunt Wang to cook your favorite dishes. You haven't been home for so many years, and you've lost weight and become more mature. After getting in the car, my mother chattered on for a long time, and I listened patiently without any impatience. When I returned to the manor where I grew up, it felt both familiar and warm. I suddenly had a feeling as if I had been away for an eternity. It was as if everything I had experienced in the past 5 years was just a dream. After dinner, my father and I went to the study. He was still imposing, but he no longer had the hostility he used to have when facing me. You've just come back, so take a few days to rest. I hope you can adjust your state as soon as possible. He could see that I was no longer high-spirited, and there was only weariness between my eyebrows. I nodded. It was just right to adjust my state. My father raised his hand and pointed at the photo and documents on the table. This is the information about the girl from the Evelyn family. She heard that you're back and will come to visit our house tomorrow. You should know something about her so as not to leave a bad impression on her. If it were in the past, I would have thought that my father was ordering me around, but now his words made me feel extremely at ease. After talking to my father for a few minutes, I went back to my room. It seemed that they all tacitly didn't ask me what had happened in these years. I believe that with my father's ability, he could have found out something, but out of consideration for me, he didn't say much. I had a long-lost good sleep at home, and the next day I was in much better spirits. While having breakfast, my phone vibrated. I opened it and saw a message from an unfamiliar number. I'm giving you one last chance. Take me off the blacklist and bring lunch to the company at noon. I've given you a way out. If you don't take it, even if you kneel and beg me in the future, I won't let you come back. I sneered when I saw the content. She was really used to being in a superior position, and the words she said were disgusting. With a cold face, I clicked delete and then blocked this number. My mother came downstairs from upstairs. Seeing my gloomy face, she showed a concerned expression. What's wrong? Who sent you a message? I smiled and shook my head. It's okay, just a spam message. My mother nodded thoughtfully. At this moment, the butler ran over and whispered something in my mother's ear. My mother immediately showed a bright smile and pulled me up. Hurry up and get dressed. Evelyn is here. Evelyn was the youngest daughter of the Evelyn family. I followed my mother's words and went upstairs to change out of my pajamas. When I came down, I saw the pretty girl sitting next to my mother. She had a cute and lovely appearance, the kind that parents would really like. She was in sharp contrast to the sexy Mia. When she saw me, she stood up with a smile. James, she said, very familiar with me, which made me a little surprised. My mother covered her mouth and smiled. When you were 6 years old, Evelyn was your deskmate for a year. Have you forgotten? It was so long ago that I only had a vague memory. It seemed that when I first started primary school, there really was a delicate and crybaby death. I smiled politely. My mother looked at us with satisfaction and chattered on about a lot of things from our childhood. Then she even pushed us out, wanting me to take Evelyn out for a stroll. I originally wanted to refuse, but considering that she was my future fiancée, I agreed to watch a movie with her. Along the way, Evelyn was like an energetic little son, constantly finding topics to talk to me about. I was infected by her attitude, and the last bit of distance between us dissipated. We had a pleasant weekend. When we came out of the cinema, at night, as a gentleman, I sent her back to the Evelyn family's house, under her expectant gaze. When we were saying goodbye, Evelyn suddenly, boldly took my hand. I was startled, but in order not to make her feel uncomfortable, I forced myself not to shake it off. James, next Friday is my birthday. Would you like to come to my birthday party? The words of refusal were already on the tip of my tongue, but when I saw her big blinking eyes, I swallowed them back. I nodded gently. Okay. After saying goodbye to her, I got in the car and rubbed my forehead. My phone vibrated again. It had rung countless times during the day. The other person kept calling from different numbers as if they didn't get tired. I sighed. In the end, I softened my heart and answered the phone. As soon as I answered, the furious voice on the other end rang in my ears. James, why didn't you answer my phone? Why didn't you bring me lunch today? Don't you know I'm tired? From working overtime, when I heard her words, my expression darkened. It turned out that she hadn't gone home at all and hadn't even realized that I had left. I actually still had a glimmer of hope for someone like her. I despised myself so much that I wanted to slap myself. Mia, if I remember correctly, I made It very clear that day that we broke up. Don't contact me again in the future. How dare you break up with me just like that? How many cold looks have I endured for you all these years? How much effort have I put into you? If you want to leave, you have to pay back all the money I spent on you." She was hysterical, and the words she said were like sharp knives stabbing into my heart. In the 5 years of our relationship, I had never asked her for a single penny. The only thing I had ever received from her was a gift that came with a watch she bought for Julian. If it weren't for the bonuses I won in various competitions during my college years, I'm afraid I would have been in a very tight financial situation. Since she could say such things, at this moment, I no longer had the mood to explain anything to her. Aren't you ashamed when you say these things? If you want compensation, go find a lawyer. I don't want to talk to you anymore. After saying that, I directly hung up the phone, blocked, and deleted her number. I don't know if my words had irritated her, but in the following days, she really didn't harass me anymore. I think as long as she's willing to check carefully, she can find out that I have never received anything from her. Soon Friday arrived. In order to give Evelyn enough face, I specially asked Nathaniel to go abroad and take a gemstone necklace worth tens of millions as a gift. Although the Evelyn family was not as powerful as the James family, it was still a well-known family in Hang. Many powerful and wealthy people came to Evelyn's birthday party. After a week of adjustment, I regained my good state. Wearing high-end customized clothes, I looked just like a noble young master. After chatting with me for a while, Evelyn went to greet those high society ladies in the circle with her mother. I found a seat in the corner and sat down, casually picking up a glass of wine and swirling it in my hand. Just then, a familiar and disgusting voice came from behind me. "James, what are you doing here?" I turned my head and saw Julian's disgusting face. I didn't know how he managed to get in here, so I chose to simply ignore him and got up to leave. But Julian took a step to block my way. "How could a piece of trash like you possibly get into the upper class?" As if he had thought of something, he showed an expression of sudden realization. "I see, you must have heard that Mia would come to this banquet, so you tried every means to sneak in, right? I'm telling you, James, before others notice you, get out of here quickly. Mia has already chosen me as her male companion. You're nothing, and you only deserve to be a worm at the bottom all your life." My eyes narrowed slightly, and my gaze towards him was extremely cold. Julian was intimidated by my aura and took a step back. Mia, who rushed over behind him, looked surprised the moment she saw me. "Weren't you so tough before? Knowing that I'm here, you managed to sneak in. What do you want to do?" Just like Julian, she was afraid that I would embarrass her. "I'm warning you, this is not like an ordinary small banquet. This is a family in Chen. You better not cause any trouble for me." Julian chimed in like a green tea beside her. "Mia, don't talk to him anymore. Just ask the security to throw him out. Mrs. Evelyn will be coming over soon. We should focus on our important business." Mia nodded and gave him a grateful look. "Julian, you're really helpful. Then I'll leave it to you. I don't want some irrelevant matters to affect our plan later." I just stood there quietly, watching the two of them. In my eyes, they were as ridiculous as clowns. No wonder there's a saying that upstarts can't enter the upper class. I didn't understand it before, but now seeing you two, I finally get it. Mia had been proud since she was a child. Upon hearing the smug expression on her face immediately cracked. What right does a person from the bottom have to mock others? I think Mia has spoiled you too much, usually making you lose sight of your own identity. Julian put his arm around Mia and continued, "Are you going to leave on your own, or should I ask someone to force you out?" I put down the wine glass and sat on the sofa, looking at them with the air of a superior. "I'm a distinguished guest. Here, it's impossible for me to leave. It should be you who leaves." Mia and Julian's arms had an extremely complicated expression. "James, can you stop being crazy? I know you're angry, but you can't talk big on this kind of occasion. You'll make me lose face." Then, with a cold face, I said, "Don't flatter yourself. You are you, and I am me. We have no relationship anymore." I stretched out my finger and pointed at the high-precision security system at the door. "This is not an unimportant banquet that you usually attend. Ordinary people can't sneak in here. Although the Evelyn family is not as powerful as the James family, it is still a well-known family that has been around for 100 years. For the family banquet they hold, even the media can't get in, let alone others. I don't know how Mia managed to get in, but it seems that they don't realize their own position at all." Mia frowned tightly and reached out to grab my wrist. "I don't care how you got in here. Leave now. He's my fiancé. What right do you have to ask him to leave?" Evelyn came to my side and slapped Mia's hand away. "Please don't touch my fiancé. It's likely to cause unnecessary misunderstandings." Mia's expression changed from shock to anger. The look she gave me was full of accusation. "So you were in such a hurry to break up with me because you've latched onto the daughter of the Evelyn group." Evelyn covered her mouth and laughed, then took my arm. "How ridiculous. Do you live on the top of a mountain? Our Evelyn Group's marriage partner was publicly announced in front of the media half a month ago. You can't possibly not know that, right? Mia seemed to have thought of something. Her pupils dilated, and she could hardly stand steadily. The James Group. You're actually the heir of the James Group. She was a bit broken. It must be fake. You were clearly a down-and-out poor guy. How could you be the young master of the James Group? Julian also didn't believe it, and his face twisted horribly. You must have used your looks to make Miss Evelyn help you like this. Evelyn rolled her eyes, turned around, and waved at the security guards. How could you let in all sorts of riffraff? How are you doing your job? Throw them out immediately. The commotion here attracted a lot of people to gather around. When Mia heard that she was going to be thrown out, she didn't care about anything else. She immediately put on a flattering smile and apologized to Evelyn. Miss Evelyn, don't be angry, we were just worried that you might be deceived. He's my ex-boyfriend. During the 5 years we were together, he did nothing but stay at home and spend my money on having fun. She stopped in the middle of her sentence, thinking that it would draw everyone's attention, but no one paid any attention to her. Even the way they looked at her changed. Most of the people who came to the birthday party today had been doing business with each other for decades and knew each other well. As the only son of the James family, I had just been away for 5 years. I wasn't dead, nor had I had plastic surgery. Of course, some people could recognize my identity. I frowned and said, Mia, I've been trying to maintain the last bit of dignity between us, from beginning to end. I've never said anything bad about you. If you keep being so unreasonable, don't blame me for suing you for slander. Come back with me first. Don't make a fool of yourself here. Mia wasn't used to the change in my attitude. She reached out to grab me, but I slapped her hand away. What are you standing there for? Throw them out now. I shouted at the 2 security guards with a cold face. The security guards reacted, afraid of being blamed and losing their jobs. One of them restrained each of the 2 people and tried to pull them out. Julian refused to leave. He pulled a piece of cloth hard, and the wine glasses fell to the ground. He quickly took out the invitation card from his pocket and shouted, I'm a guest of Mrs. Evelyn. Whoever dares to touch me will pay the price. Sure enough, the 2 security guards didn't dare to act any further. I looked at the invitation card with an obvious color difference and sneered. I thought they really had some ability, but it turned out they only had the ability to forge things. Just then, Mrs. Evelyn, who had heard the commotion, came down from the 2nd floor. She frowned slightly when she saw the chaotic scene. What's going on? Why are you making such a mess here? Evelyn pouted, ran up to her mother with a wronged look, and complained, Mom, who did you invite? My nice birthday party has been ruined. Like this, Mrs. Evelyn was confused. The people I invited? I've never invited anyone. Didn't your second sister handle all of this? Evelyn then also realized that something was wrong. She snatched the invitation card from Julian's hand and examined it carefully. How dare you forge it? There's no need to throw them out. Just call the police directly. Julian couldn't believe it and broke free from the security guard's restraint. Impossible. I bought this at a high price of over 100,000 yuan. I kindly reminded him, the people who can come here are all either rich or powerful. Who would give you the invitation card just for a mere 100,000 yuan? That would be slapping the Evelyn family in the face. Julian then realized that he had really been deceived. Worried about going to the police station, he slumped to the ground and stopped resisting and was dragged out by the security guards. Mia didn't want to miss this opportunity at all. The moment Julian was dragged out, she ran up to me and hugged my waist. James, I was wrong, ... I shouldn't have been angry with you. I didn't agree to the breakup, so we're still in a relationship as boyfriend and girlfriend. I was blind and didn't know your identity. I shouldn't have misunderstood you like this. You can take out your anger on me however you want, but please, don't leave me with a solemn face. I pried her hands off and pushed her aside. I wiped my clothes in disgust. Mia, I thought you were the kind of person who dared to love and hate. I didn't expect you to be so despicable. It's not that you were blind, but I was the one who was blind to have stayed in Djiang City for you for so many years. Mia's eyes were red, and tears were streaming down her face. You have done so much for me. I always thought you were with me because of my money. I love you. You have to believe my feelings for you. As she spoke, she wiped her tears. She looked so pitiful, if it were in the past. As soon as she shed tears, my heart would tremble, and I would have wanted to give her my whole world to make her happy. Now, when I see her tears, I just think they are extremely hypocritical. I don't believe that a person who casually tramples on my dignity can truly repent. If you really had feelings for me, you wouldn't have done things that hurt me, nor would you have crossed the line with your so-called close friend. Mia shook her head frantically. It's not like what you think. Julian and I are really innocent. As she spoke, she tried to get closer to me. Evelyn reached out and pulled me to her side, looking at Mia warningly. Miss Mia, right? No matter what happened between you two in the past, James is my fiancé now. Touching him like this is the behavior of a mistress. Mia pursed her lips and kept staring at me as if she were a passionate female protagonist who had been wronged. I put my arm around Evelyn's slender waist. You can see that Evelyn is not only my fiancée but will also be my wife in the future. Please don't bother my life anymore. Mia no longer had that pitiful expression. She stared fixedly at the hand I had around Evelyn's waist, and a trace of unwillingness flashed in her eyes. Why can you say you don't love me just like that? I didn't intend to continue to entangle with her. I waved my hand to signal the security guards to escort her out. Seeing that I was in a bad mood, Evelyn took my hand and went up to the second floor. When I came to my senses, our fingers were already intertwined. My face turned red all of a sudden, and I quickly pulled my hand back. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Evelyn smiled coquettishly. Who are you apologizing to? Aren't we an engaged couple? Not to mention holding hands, we can even kiss. At the end of her words, she realized that she had been too proactive and blushed as well. I suddenly realized that her kindness to me was not just because of the business marriage. Evelyn and I were on the balcony on the second floor. We didn't say anything to each other, but we stared at the stars for a long time. It was not until the butler downstairs reminded us that we needed to go down and cut the cake. We came back to our senses when we reached the stairway. I held her hand. Evelyn, I'm a slow person to warm up to others. You're really nice, and I will try to keep you in my heart. This was the best promise I could think of. Just having ended a deep and unforgettable relationship, I needed some time to adjust before I could live up to her sincere love. She smiled softly. I've waited for so many years. I don't mind waiting a little longer. Anyway, you can't run away. I accompanied her to cut the cake and put on the gemstone necklace that I had prepared long ago for her. The necklace looked particularly luxurious against her porcelain white skin. She was very happy, and the smile on her lips never faded. I really hadn't chosen the wrong one. After the banquet ended, it was already 12 o'clock in the morning. After saying goodbye to her, I prepared to go back to the manor. The car had just driven less than 100 meters when a person rushed out. The driver slammed on the brakes, and we almost hit that person. I frowned and looked up. It was Mia, which had been tied up, was disheveled. There was a gentle breeze at night, and the messy hair fluttered in the air. Her eyes were red, and she stubbornly looked into my eyes. I sighed, opened the car door, and got out. James, you still love me, don't you? Will you come back with me? I said. I would marry you when you proposed for the 100th time. We still have one more chance. As soon as Mia came up, she reached out and pinched my arm. Her dark red nails almost dug into my flesh. I hissed in pain and shook her off. What on earth are you going to do now? If you want to die, go far away. Can you please not come and dirty my car? I told you half a year ago that if you still didn't agree on the 99th proposal, there would never be a 100th time. Mia's shoulders were shaking, and her tears had smudged her delicate makeup. Believe it or not, the person I've always wanted to marry has been you, and it has never changed. The reason why I didn't agree to you so many times is that Julian said that easily agreeing to marry a man would make me seem very cheap. She covered her mouth and sobbed uncontrollably. I didn't see my own feelings clearly before. Since you left, I've been thinking about you every day. You also know that my parents have a bad relationship. I want a marriage where the other party gives 100%. Why can't you satisfy me? Why did you lie to me and marry someone else regardless of everything? She reached out and grabbed my collar, stood on tiptoe, and tried to kiss me. I couldn't bear it anymore and raised my hand to slap her. Can you please wake up? Mia fell to the ground, crying pitifully. You used to treat me like a treasure. How could you bear to hurt me? I gritted my teeth and said, can't you stand this? What about the hurt you caused me before? The so-called love you have is the cheapest. If you didn't know my identity, would you still be so humble and beg me to come back? Stop deceiving yourself. You just want to cling to the James group, that's all. Mia fell silent immediately. She couldn't refute that at all, because that was the truth. If I were just a poor guy from the countryside, she would only treat me like a dog by her side. I gave her a cold look and turned around to get in the car. Since the farce at the banquet, Mia seemed to have disappeared from my world, and she didn't pester me anymore. The date of my engagement with Evelyn was set, and it was just a week later. However, before I could enjoy the peace for too long, a call came from Mia's childhood friend. Can you come and see Mia? She's really going crazy. Without thinking, I refused decisively. I'm not available. Whether she lives or dies has nothing to do with me. Please don't bother my life anymore. After saying that, I hung up the phone and blocked the number. Soon, the day of the engagement arrived. In the morning, I arranged the company's affairs and planned to drive alone to buy Evelyn her favorite dessert. Thinking of her sweet smile, my withered heart was filled again. Just as I walked out of the dessert shop, a young man in black clothes crashed into me. I reacted quickly and immediately dodged to the side, but the pain in my abdomen made me clearly aware that I was injured. Only then did I see clearly that the person had a knife in his hand. I was on high alert and stared intently into his eyes. With just one glance, I recognized him. Julian, you better not do anything stupid. I've already pressed the emergency alarm button. Julian flinched when he was recognized and then raised the knife again, glaring at me viciously. If it weren't for you, Mia wouldn't have cut off contact with me. Nor would she have suppressed me and made me encounter difficulties everywhere. If I'm not having a good time, you can't either. I'm going to kill you today and make you go to hell with me. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and Julian fell to the ground. It was the uncle who was sweeping the street who took the first action. He hit Julian on the back of the head with a shovel. Damn it, I've been watching you acting suspiciously for a long time. Then the strong men who had been ready to act for a long time started to hit Julian with whatever they could hold in their hands. It turned out that when Julian was brandishing the knife and spouting nonsense, the people around had already noticed him. There were quite a lot of kind-hearted people in society nowadays. Without thinking, they came up and subdued Julian. Julian was sent to the police station, and my engagement banquet continued as planned. I only had a flesh wound and was not seriously injured. I couldn't miss one of the most important moments in my life. Under the pressure from the James family, Julian would never be able to get out of prison in his lifetime. My relationship with Evelyn grew stronger and stronger. Half a year after the engagement, she became pregnant, and we promptly set the wedding date for New Year's Eve. On the day of the wedding, Mia also came to the scene. She seemed to have aged 10 years and looked completely dull without my help. This year, she had been devastated by her family. Those projects that she had once thought were her own achievements had all collapsed, and she had been dismissed by her father. Now, her family was going to marry her off to a second married boss in Hing. Seeing the close relationship between Evelyn and me, her eyes turned red, and this time it was sincere. Worried that she would disrupt my wedding, I had someone send her back to her home. The wedding was grand. Evelyn and I said our vows to each other, and there was only the other person in our eyes. A year after the marriage, we lived a very happy life, and our child was about to be born. While waiting in the hospital delivery room, I saw Mia again. She was pregnant and holding a prenatal examination form alone. When she saw me, she almost fled in a hurry. This time, when I saw her, I didn't feel any emotions or fluctuations. I just sighed at how fate played tricks on people. After more than a dozen hours passed, the baby was born smoothly. I was so scared by this childbirth that I kissed Evelyn and promised her that we wouldn't have any more children in the future. During the confinement period, I brought my work home to deal with and stayed with her all the time. We were inseparable, and deeply in love with each other. We looked at each other and smiled, understanding each other without words. We would support each other and spend the rest of our lives together.